Okie dokie. News of the day. Tom Wilson's suspension was dropped to 14 games by an arbiter. Now, for people saying, well, the arbitrator ruled after 14 games. Yeah. So basically, he gets back money that he would have made for the games he didn't get to play. And altogether, because of this suspension being reduced, he gets $378,048.78 back. That's not chump change. Tuukka Rask has returned to practice for the Boston Bruins today. He was off for personal reasons, and we'll hopefully see him back in net soon, and hopefully everything's okay. Michael Haley, he's on a conditioning loan by the Florida Panthers after completing a optional program. So basically, it's like a substance abuse program, and he's through it, and hopefully Haley's all right as well. They could use some of that grit in the Florida lineup as well. If you're a Devils fan, there's a good news, bad news thing. The good news is Pavel Zacha's back. The bad news is, to get him back, Brian Boyle went on the IR. So Boyle's out, Zacha's in, and hopefully Zacha's time in the American League has refocused him, and he comes back ready to score some points, because that's what he's been drafted to do. Dennis Everberg has been placed on unconditional waivers by the Winnipeg Jets for the purpose of a buyout. Buyouts can happen anytime during the season. Player and team sit down and they go, you know what, this doesn't work. And they do the buyout. It's unconditional, meaning he has to be placed on waivers. And any team has a shot at him. Nobody's going to take him. And the buyout usually allows the player to go over and play in Europe. So I would expect when Everberg's done, he either signs in the KHL or one of the other European leagues and goes over and continues his career there. Speaking of Europe, the NHL's considering European expansion. That term comes up every now and then, and there's some validity to it. This is part of the reason why I've talked about them going eventually to a 40-team league, is because the NHL ultimately would like to have an 8 to 10 team division over in Europe. It's not feasible in my eyes. I don't think there's enough players to make it work. And I think that the travel would be an absolute nightmare. But the NHL sees money. Lots and lots of money. Just cash rolling in. The problem is, of course, most arenas in Europe are built with European-sized ice. That's why it's called European-sized ice. So a lack of NHL-sized ice is really a major issue. And the NHLPA clearly would love to see more people join the union. And the NHL would love to take people's money. But you've got to have the right-sized ice surface for that. Seattle. The people revamping and redoing Key Arena say we'll be done by the 2020-2021 season. NHL executives, not so sure. Bill Daly's been quoted saying they're aiming for the 2021-2022 season. Now, of course, they are going to make an official announcement on NHL expansion, likely in December. So we'll hear a lot more about what the Seattle plan is then and the timeline. And it'll be interesting to see if the NHL says we're awarding them a team for the 2021-2022 season, and Seattle says, no, we won in 2020. And, of course, there's all this talk about how the NHL's agreement with the union comes to a head then, and they may very well want to push that down the road so they don't have to worry about a potential lockout or strike getting in the way of the debut of the Seattle Hornets, Metros, Totems, Kraken, Grunge team, Sockeye. Anyways, the NHL will be making that announcement next month, and Seattle's excited about coming in 2020. Speaking of 2020, they're already talking about a World Cup. That's right. Remember that last World Cup? No? Well, they're going to do another one. 2020 is the date, and what they're looking at is they want to do like a Ryder Cup type thing like you see in golf. I don't know. I look at that and I'm like, how would that work? Anyways, so Ryder Cup kind of situation and 8 countries. They don't want to do the 6 countries and 2 All-Star teams they did in the last tournament. They want to do 8 countries. I don't know if that's going to necessarily work out so well, but we'll see. I did talk about how in the last World Cup that I thought the 2 All-Star teams were unnecessary. They did perform relatively well, but come on, Connor McDavid should have been wearing a Canadian jersey, and all the American young kids should have been wearing American jerseys and not this Team North America thing. So it made the whole thing kind of silly, and I would think if you're going to make this a genuine World Cup, You should have it like the Soccer World Cup where countries play their way into it. I think that would be a lot of fun too. But since it's just run by the NHL and they just want the NHL players in it, it's never going to be anything fun like that, and it's never going to live up to being what soccer/football has with their World Cup, which is just awesome. There's nothing like the World Cup. It's fantastic, and it's kind of a shame that hockey can't get on that level. But there just aren't enough countries that play hockey at a high enough level to make that work. I also want to throw in that today the city of Calgary will be doing a vote on whether or not to proceed with the 2026 bid for the Olympics. I know there are people eyeing that up and saying, if they get the Olympics, maybe that'll help Calgary build a brand new arena for the Flames. That's not the plan. It's not anywhere in the plans for there to be a replacement to the Saddle Dome. The International Olympic Committee has already looked at the Saddle Dome and deemed that it's completely suitable and it's fine. It's up to code for them. So what doesn't work for the NHL is just fine for the Olympics. It's kind of weird. But anyways, that's the word right now. They may build a 5,000-seat hockey arena in the city that would kind of gather dust after the Olympics are over. There was even talk about why do we need this, and I've yet to hear exactly how that whole thing would work. But there's been a lot of talks about what the bid is, what the bid isn't, and we're still a long ways out from whether or not Calgary's going to get the bid. And as for talks between the city and the mayor, or the city and the team about a new arena to replace the Saddle Dome, they're still just in preliminary stages. They're being nice publicly right now, but honestly, I think there's going to be some more saber rattling. I'm not sure who's going to start it. I don't know if it's going to be the NHL. I don't know if it's going to be the team. I don't know if it's going to be the city. But somewhere over the next few months, we'll hear talk about how this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and therefore you might lose the team. Or the city saying the team wants this and this and this, and we feel like we're being held hostage. So it's going to continue. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.